Genji 2 is an action game which is based on Japanese history. Being based on history, the stages of the game will also be based on famous battles which actually took place in ancient Japan. So here's this giant enemy crab.
I clocked in. What's my playtime now? 74 hours.
Jeez.
Monster Hunter Wilds. I feel like I definitely I'm enjoying it. It's really fun.
Well, we will talk about that on episode 38 of the Giant fucking Christ.
Giant
You almost got through it.
Oh my god. I'm so tired.
Dude, don't worry, I'm right there with you. You sent me wakey, I was mad immediately. I was like, I need to go cool.
Sorry, man.
I need to go cool off. I know I didn't mean it, but coming from you, that sounded condescending as fuck.
Why?
You did tell someone to message you.
I said I'll be on at 7:30.
Oh no, see, they told me 7. And they said you were taking a nap and it was already 7:20 something. So
No,
I
said
was like,
7:30.
oh, you're 20 something. Okay, so
That's
then
my
it's not
bad.
either of our faults. It's Lionel's fault.
What?
Everything is Lionel's fault.
That's
oh
fair.
my gosh.
I was like, why does everyone message me? And then I see one of them's wakey, and I'm like, it's not even 7:30 yet because I woke up a few minutes early.
Well, you said you'd be on like at the latest 7:30. I don't know, man.
It
I
is
don't
true.
know
You
what
did say
do.
that was like your
I
upwards
remember,
time.
and I remembered 7, but you said the latest at 7.
Well, we're here now. Welcome to episode 38 of the Giant Enemy Crab Podcast. I'm your host, Fliz, and I'm joined by 3 lovely gentlemen. As always, we got Kylar and Tsun and Strider. And yeah, man, I'm tired. Just let it go. Just let it go. Let me have this.
Give him an award.
We can't all be perfect like Lionel over here.
That's
all right?
true.
Some of
That's
us
true.
just got to exist in his world.
Never his fault, no matter
I
what.
just remember that day you got mad at me the other day. Just for doing nothing. I
Fuck
was
you and your
sitting
perfect
here.
life.
I don't even remember. I've been in a bad mood all week.
No, it was because he was asking him about if he wants food while he plays games.
Oh yeah, you're fucking playing games. She's like, you want me to go get us something to eat while you sit here and play games? I'm like, I've been married for like 10 years. My wife has brought me food in here twice. And I'm like, you don't even know how lucky you are. Your
What?
relationship is not normal in the best way, and I hate you for it.
Oh, that's me. Hey, I brought you food one time. I had it delivered to you. I remember
That's
you said
true.
you were drunk one night on stream, said you want chicken nuggets.
That was like $50 worth of
was.
chicken. It was really expensive.
Would you send him a bunch? I can't remember.
Not even, dude. It was just that's how
It's
expensive
6 piece
shit
or some
was.
shit.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
Cross the country chicken nuggets.
And fucking what, like 3 a.m. our time?
Yeah.
So midnight for him.
Hey man, I used to put out content, but now we do this.
Damn, this ain't content.
This is slop official.
It's not slop. It's fantastic, and we're gonna.
It's not content.
We're gonna talk about. Okay,
By
it's
your-
something.
by your
It's
own
fun. We
admission.
do it because it's fun. We do it because it's fun. If I did this for content, I would put videos in there and all that. I just don't have time. I don't have time, but we do the podcast. And today's podcast, we're just going to get into Monster Hunter Wilds since that's the big hotness. Everybody on Steam owns a copy. Everybody's playing it. The Steam list of people playing it has not dipped below like 5 to 10 on my friends list nonstop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got like
It's
4 or
kinda
5 playing right
insane.
now.
It's killing it. And some might say deservedly so. How y'all feeling?
I like it.
am having fun with it. There's definitely some caveats to it, but I am very happy that I got it and that I've how much of it I've played it because it's been a great time.
Yeah, I know all of us are big fans of just the series in general. So we've all been waiting for this for a minute.
I knew how I was going to feel about it overall, like as a Monster Hunter game. And I was right. It's probably my favorite base game in terms of like between World, Rise, and Wilds. without their expansions, but it's probably my least favorite overall.
I don't what? Oh, okay. So you're like just waiting for the DLC to really have an opinion.
Will probably make it potential for best, but right now it's probably my least favorite overall, but my favorite base game release, because these games are massively improved from their title updates and from their expansions.
That's a big part of what I remember about World is when I got it. I'd never played a monster. I didn't even know what Monster Hunter was. It was just a new Capcom game on PlayStation, and I was just consistently impressed with how much content they kept adding and how like I didn't have to pay anything. It just like new stuff kept happening, and the game was just solid all around. It'd been a long time since I'd seen something that like tickled all those fancies just perfectly for me.
Tickle.
How do you like it, Tsun?
I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
Nice.
I found a different weapon besides hunting horn that I'm maining now. In the past, I've tried gun lance, and it's really, really fun and wild. I like making things explode, and then also having the defensive capability.
Oh yeah.
All the weapons in wilds are fun, like even funner than previous.
I've been doing the greatsword and the bow, and I do like both of them. It's interesting because they've introduced the new focus mechanic now, and they got rid of the clutch claw from Monster Hunter World.
I like the focus mechanic a lot.
Yeah, I like it too, and there's been mixed opinions about it. Some people do not like it. Some people enjoy it quite a bit. What are your guys' thoughts on it?
I like it, though there are some things I really do not like about it.
Like what?
Because for me, it feels too powerful, at least as a dual blade user.
Why?
Because it's like the new moves that they gave me during like focus mode just allows me to abuse certain things, and it's like it seems to be one of the strongest ways to play dual blade.
Isn't dual blade always abusing things?
I mean, it's the same as other things, but the forward momentum that you have, plus the demon flurry moves, which were introduced as filler between blade dance so that you can weave them back and forth, advances you a lot. And now you can just turn that move. So it seems much easier to keep on target with it. And I'm not sure the game definitely seems to have some balancing issues. It's like one of my overall critiques of it.
I mean, yeah, I could see that. Like, I think some of the monsters would, like, as you're playing through the game, die pretty fast. But the very hardest monsters, I mean, I can still die to them.
Yeah, I've still failed. I've failed hunts.
Yeah, I don't think I failed a hunt yet, but I've definitely gotten really close where I only have like one cart left.
We failed. We failed the one Jindahad fight. I remember that one that we failed.
Did we?
In multiplayer? Yeah, remember?
No,
because it's the only time I've seen the quest failed screen. Because other than that, I have.
Oh, we did. Yeah, someone. I think one person took all the carts, if I remember right. It was one or two people.
Two people took all the cards, but they was split between them. And I think we even had insurance on that. But
yeah,
I only have 2 deaths in the game. One of them was me basically throwing by repeatedly trying to cook right in front of the monster and seeing if you could protect me. And I died after 5 or 6 hits. The other was a legitimate death to the penultimate fight. But those were my only 2 deaths throughout all of my gameplay.
Have you tried any other weapons besides dual blades?
No, I have not.
Okay, because honestly, the feeling where you feel overpowered with the focus mode of dual blades, that's literally every fucking weapon.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's part of that's part of my critique. It's just it's too powerful. It's
the greatsword's the same way. Whereas if you use the attack that lets you like pop a wound, you can go from that directly into a true charge slash, which like there's a 50-50 shot. You landing that creates another wound, which lets you hit that immediately, and you can do another true charge slash. As long as you're circling the monster and hitting like a new spot every time, you can basically like just keep pinballing around until you get smacked in the face for it, or you just don't proc one.
I've definitely fought some of the, maybe not some of the huge ones, but there's been monster fights where like I'm just infinitely attacking. Like there's nothing stopping me.
Yeah.
And that's one of my big problems. It's just that like the way like the power difference between hunters and monsters like changes throughout the series is like this feels incredibly hunter lopsided right now. Where there's definitely some fights where the monster just spends the entire fight on the ground, wounds exploding. It's got 16 status effects in 12 seconds, and just the monster doesn't get to play. Like it doesn't fight back. And then sometimes I'm like, well, I did it, but I didn't really feel challenged at any point. Like the monster didn't get to play the game.
So I think it's a fine game. Like it has so much potential, right? I'm excited with you as well for what happens in the future. I have not gotten to play as much as y'all, which has been extremely noticeable, right? So all right. I've told myself that like if we ever play a game together and I find myself going ahead of everybody, no matter who I'm playing with, I'm never doing that again. Because it's like it sucks half the fun out of the game to be doing the content basically by yourself. And if people join you, they've already seen it all.
Yeah.
And I'm like realizing that as I'm playing this, that it's like eating away all the fun for me, right?
Mhm.
On top of that, when people show up, the fights are so like I can just stand there. I've cooked in front of the monster multiple times just to see, and like it doesn't like there's no threat. The monster there was one where like the game actually usually the monster gets up and runs away at some point or something. It like stopped letting us hit it at one point so it could go into a hole because it was just getting the fuck beaten out of it so hard. And I was like, yeah, the poor squid, man. And like, I don't know. It's really, my experience is very biased towards my own, like what's been going on with my ability to play it.
Yeah.
But like, I'm kind of just playing it at this point. Like, it doesn't have, and we'll talk about the characters, but like, yeah, like I said, I'm excited to see where it goes. For now, I'm just playing catch up nonstop, and that's like not great.
Yeah, and well, here's the thing too that I kind of just to let you know too, because a lot of us did play it all at the same time. We played a lot of catch up because we had lots of people in the Discord all playing at the same time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It even when you're playing it together, it all kind of feels like that. Like it very rarely does a hunt last for more than 5 minutes.
That's crazy.
Not even joking. Like it generally takes about 5 minutes for a hunt.
Like once I would say once a fight starts, like usually 2 to 3 minutes is getting to it, and then the fight's like 5 to 7 minutes long.
Yeah, it's not a hard game at this point in time. One thing that's interesting is Wilds has considerably less monsters than World has when it came out. It has 10 less monsters.
Are you including the large and small monsters?
I think that's just large monsters.
Because the difference is 30 to 29. If you
really? Yes,
there were 30 monsters in base world before any title updates. And to remember, the important thing is there are 3 reskins in terms of there's Rathalos, Azure Rathalos, Rathian, Pink Rathian, and Diablos Black Diablos. And there was also the Zora Magdaros fight are included in those 30, which made the world roster feel a little smaller. To me, anyway, which is why I wanted to specify them. Wilds has 29 monsters, 1 you can't refight, but I feel like there was more variety by far in Wilds, but I still don't. There was something off about the roster. I don't know if you guys felt the same way. Like once
I do. And yeah, I feel there's something that's, I was trying to think about it the other day, and I was like, for one, the game just seems darker, like across the map, like across the board. It's just like visibly darker. It's not as vibrant as Wilds, and that might be I think that's a lot of the environments. It's just what they were going for, which is fine. It's just noticeable to me.
Yeah, the color palette's much more muted.
Yeah. And there's some cool things when it comes to the monsters, but like, I don't know, the introductions are nowhere near as hype as they were in Worlds. They just kind of show up or they're fighting with each other a lot, but there's also not a lot of like, what are they called when they fight? Turf wars?
Yeah.
I've seen like 2 maybe that are actual turf wars and not just them kind of hitting each other randomly.
Mhm.
I see it pop up on the right side, but I don't actually see them in my game.
Yeah, I see it all the time too.
I've seen quite a few just as I've been going around. I think probably my favorite was the Zoo versus Odogaron one, where Odogaron just gets rocked, and you finally get to see Zoo use the teeth, and it's very unsettling. It made me uncomfortable. I was like, that was a good turf war. That's what I want to see. But they are very rare.
I'm also not a big fan of big spider monster. Like that's not. I've seen enough giant spiders in games. You know, it's not quite that, but that's that's just a personal thing, I guess. And I don't think this one, like nothing that we've seen so far, compares to me in the way that Nergigante was for World. Like it just like Nergigante was like that was the dude, you know. And this has like a weird tentacle thing. I don't know if I care too much about it.
Yeah, no, because it's noteworthy now that you bring him up. This is, I think, the first Monster Hunter to never have Elder Dragons in its release roster.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
there's none in it.
Which I think also contributes to the roster feeling weird. Because I don't know if you guys feel the same, but the Elder Dragons are usually some of my favorite fights throughout this series.
Yeah.
And they're usually
Sometimes.
And they're some of the most interesting. They're also some of the most annoying.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not as far as you guys, but there hasn't been. See, now I'm like I don't know what's Iceborne and what's World, and it seems like I mean, there's less mechanics to a lot of the monsters. Man, we should. I keep trying to get into other topics of things that we'll get to, but
There's a lot. There's a lot.
There's a lot, and there's a lot of stuff that kind of like should we talk about the story a little?
Yeah, but
Yeah, we can. I think the main thing that I wanted to get at though was their next title update is supposed to come out next month, and they're already going to be bringing in like higher levels of difficulty. They said so. It seems like this game being intentionally easy is pretty like that's what they expected to do.
Oh, engagement optimization. They get you hooked, and then they go, okay, now here's the real thing.
Yeah, because one thing that this game doesn't have that that World has is it doesn't have like the color variations like a lot of the monsters had in World, like Rathian and Pink Rathian, Rathlos and Azrathlos. There's the Guardian ones, but that's really it. And even then, like there's Guardian Odogaron that does not have like his normal variations none in the game. So they could probably add all of those still too and just make them, more difficult. So seems like they're probably going to be amping up the difficulty, which is the number one like complaint that always happens in a Monster Hunter game, no matter what it is on launch.
Have they all been like squishy at launch?
It's just everyone always complains about the game being too easy whenever a Monster Hunter game comes out. It's always the first complaint. It makes sense because like the last game you were playing, you were doing the end game stuff. You were fighting the hardest shit in the game. And now you're back to level 1.
I mean, yes, but I also feel like it's like easier even comparatively. Like I feel like if I went back and played low rank World and high rank World and low rank Rise and high rank Rise, I would probably struggle more than I did in this game.
Yeah, like there wasn't a single monster that pissed me off. And I can still remember the Diablos pissed me off in World because they especially like the dual Diablos or something like those. That was a nasty fight if you weren't prepared for it. And there was like this game has just been like I hit the thing and it dies. Next thing.
Yeah, there's not really many difficult like monsters besides. It's really only like the final 2 that I really have any issues with.
Now, are there any that you guys really enjoyed fighting?
The Lightning Dragon, the
Raidao?
Jin, Raidao, Jin Dahad, and I guess Gormagala. I don't like fighting. Oh god, I'm trying to
Our
blank on his
flagship?
name.
Arkveld?
Yeah, Arkveld. There we go. I always call him Silas. I don't like fighting Arkveld. I don't find him very enjoyable. But I do like those fights. Those fights are really fun.
I haven't fought Gormagala outside of the introduction quest for him. I fought him a few times there, but I also do not like that fucking introduction quest for him
Oh yeah.
because of the fucking weather effect. Because on PS5, I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but after about 10, 15 feet in that blizzard, you can't see a fucking thing.
Oh really?
Yeah, no, during the blizzards, like it is just pitch black as soon as you leave the room that you're
Oh
in.
no.
Because what Gormagala did, and this was what killed me, is do you know that little ramp area that exists in the ice shards, right? That's like it's a little room that's basically a really thin, narrow bridge with two rooms that are like encased, like they're not open areas, they're closed off with two archways. But what he would do is he would keep jumping back into them so I couldn't see him and then come slingshotting out like with less than half a second to react. And that I'd get hit. And then because of his status effect, he ended up doing this like 2 or 3 times, stunned me, and then killed me. And that's where my only death that wasn't me throwing came from. But like it like that frustrated me, and it wasn't because it like the monster itself when we fought it, when I fought it with you guys was fine because he didn't go into one of those rooms where like I couldn't see him. It was just because of the like reduction in my visual clarity just made that fight a little frustrating. But it's also one of the more memorable ones because that pissed me off.
Yeah, that's the storm one, right? Like there's a big storm happening.
No, this is the second to last. It's towards the very end because you
Nice.
fight in
I'm
the ice
probably
shard
not there.
the ice shard area, but there's a blizzard going on which reduces visibility, and a PS5 frame rate mode. It's just you can't fucking see outside the room.
I forgot you were playing it on PS5.
Yeah, because my PC can't run the game.
That makes 2 of us. It crashed hard yesterday. I think I had a Windows update in the background or something that I didn't expect, but I mean, it's been running better than Marvel. It's crashed less than Marvel, but like there was a fight where there was like, I think there was a thunderstorm or something happening, and that I could not wait for that to be over. It was dark. There was shit everywhere. All my snowflakes are like giant pixels. Like it was not a pleasant time. Performance.
Do we want to talk about performance?
Yeah, sure.
Because I feel like it's important to bring up.
Yeah, no, I have everything turned down to everything, and my PC would stop, and then it would take a full second, and then it would start going again. Which Marvel would just crash the whole thing, but like that was the worst time it happened, and it would just it wasn't even the frames dropping. My PC would just chug for a second, then it would pick itself up and kind of keep going for a little bit until it did brick. But
yeah, I think
not great.
I think one of the people we play with in this Discord can't progress anymore because their game is basically soft locked.
Yeah.
Oh no.
One of his quests glitched where every time he tries to do it, it crashes the game.
Oh, I know he's on it.
It's got to uninstall and reinstall, I guess.
Yeah.
Turn it off and on. Capcom says turn it off and on again. Thank you for all your patience and support.
Oh.
Yeah, for me the game runs fine. What's interesting with it is it runs exactly the same no matter what graphic settings I set it to. It does not matter. Which probably just means my CPU is bottlenecked or something. But it's still really weird that I can run like the max settings with 90 frames per second or the very lowest settings 90 frames per second. Doesn't matter.
It's absolutely the RE engine because the same thing happens with Dragon's Dogma 2.
Does it really?
Yeah, where like basically the graphic settings don't matter. You're almost certainly going to be CPU bottlenecked.
Yeah, even ray tracing, like I can turn it off, turn it to the highest setting, it doesn't matter. Just exactly the same no matter what I do.
Mine's been running pretty fucking good. I mean, the only time I have any hitches is when I'm first loading into the game, and once that's done, I don't have any issues after that.
I'm glad that's I'm not glad that's an issue for you, Lionel. I just because I have the same thing where I've messed with so many graphics settings and nothing seems to make it really better or worse. So I think it is the CPU bottleneck, which sucks. And it's only super bad. What's crazy is that the worst it's been is in town. That's where it's the worst, and nothing's even happening. I hate the towns here. I really do.
Yeah.
I think they're all unmemorable and boring and gross. And I think, well, no, we'll keep talking about the performance.
Before the day the game was going to come out, I fired up the benchmark test because I'm like, I know my PC can't run it, but let's see. Exactly what's going to happen, right? So I pulled up Task Manager and some other things to keep track of my performance, right? Like to see how I'm doing. I start the game. It takes 20 minutes to do the shaders, right?
Mm-hmm.
The shaders compiling was easier to run than the main menu because it was as soon as finished compiling shaders, my CPU usage just started climbing. And I was like, Jesus Christ, why is the menu using 80% of my CPU? What is going on? Because my CPU is a little over 5 years old right now. So, because I have a Ryzen 7 3800X. And it's just crazy to me that the main menu is beating my CPU down that badly, more than the shader compiling was.
What CPU do you have? Do you know?
Ryzen 7 3800X.
Really?
Yes. It's that's what I was saying is it's roughly it's a little over 5 years old, maybe about 6.
So
it's not
interesting.
It's not cutting edge, but it's below the recommended for I think because I think the recommended is a 3700X on their Steam page. Give me 1 second.
I just the most frustrating part of it all, and I've said this before, is that it looks worse and runs worse than World on my PC, and that shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, it's not great, to be honest. The game seems to run okay on PlayStation 5. There doesn't seem to be many issues. But the fact that it's this poorly done on PC, and even then, on PlayStation 5, it doesn't do good. That's for sure. You can play the game, but it's definitely no Horizon Zero Dawn.
It's my mind is blown. Who was this for? Who has the PCs to actually run this shit properly? And the answer is nobody.
No,
I don't get it. Why would they make it so heavy?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, to be honest, because even it could just be the engine does not like what they're doing with it.
Oh, it absolutely is part of the engine, because it's the RE engine is not designed for open world environments. Because
why?
I don't know. Because here's the crazy thing: is Rise and this are built on the same engine.
Are they?
Yes, both are RE engine games, and it's just the giant maps with all of the endemic life and monsters, and the villages doing whatever the fuck they do. I guess that is causing the super heavy PC performance usage, or the CPU usage, not PC usage. Because Dragon's Dogma 2 has the exact same issue where you can triple your frame rate by killing most of the NPCs. It's the NPCs are the big issue, and I don't know why. It's just something with the amount of them because the RE engine, when you get too many basically entities that the CPU needs to keep track of and their schedules and whatever else they have it do, it just seems to get exponentially worse the more you add.
Man, I want to try that now. Just go kill off all the little animals and see if maybe that makes things better. Because I will say that is one thing that I liked about this There's been a couple moments where I'm just like looking for a monster or something, and I'm just traveling around, and there's like tons of shit happening with the monsters that, you know, are kind of trash mobs. But like I was walking up a river, and there's like crocodiles and herds of fucking buffalo or whatever. Like it was, and bugs attacking each other. Like it was like there was like cool stuff happening. I could only see it 30 frames at a time, but I mean, it was cool stuff.
Yeah, no, one of the ones I remember is that after you kill something, if you wait around a little bit, there's these small endemic life things that come in and start feasting on the corpse.
It's cool. I don't know if it's 30 FPS cool, but it's there.
Yeah, no, but because I played on PlayStation because I couldn't run on my PC, and there's 3 modes for the PS5. I don't know what the Pro does for it or not, but there is a balanced, a performance / frame rate mode, and a quality setting. Quality mode runs at targets 30 FPS. Balance targets 40 FPS, and frame rate / performance mode targets 60. I played the entire game on frame rate mode because with resolution mode, I think frame gen is still enabled or something with the game on the PlayStation, because there was like almost a full second of input delay on resolution mode. I was like, because I went down and then I went down. I went down. And I was like, what is going on? Hopefully this gets better at frame rate. And it's still kind of bad. Like there's definitely input lag.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me with the low FPS the game is getting just natively.
But it allowed it to be playable. But so for performance mode, the game runs decent, like more impressive than what my PC was showing was going to expect. But it looks terrible. Like it gets, because there's a dynamic resolution scaling that goes on, and it can drop the visual clarity during intense scenes like pretty bad. Like for the most part, it hovers around, I would say 50 to 60, but there is usually like potentially a moment or two per hunt where particle effects kick in, and like if they're close to the camera, the frame rate will just drop like for a few seconds to like 20, 15. Like it gets bad sometimes.
Which is unfortunate, because I don't even care that I'm not a graphics person. I don't really give a shit. I just want it to run properly. And it just kind of fails in both respects on anything better or anything that's not the best CPU or the best tower, I guess.
Even on them. Even on them, it doesn't do good. Like it still chugs.
And that's if it runs. Like there's some people, there's a bunch of people who can't play this game because it just crashes and doesn't work.
Yeah. I count myself lucky, no matter how it looks, that I can play the game. So
I'm so thankful I have a PlayStation.
And you does GeForce Now not carry it?
No, it doesn't. Nope.
Oh, I wonder why.
It's because the CPUs on GeForce Now, I almost guarantee it, they're much weaker than the cards they use.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah. Like if this game tried to run it on like Dragon's Dogma 2 on GeForce Now could still get bad in towns. I could only imagine that Wilds would just explode with their CPUs they use, because the CPUs are by far the weakest part of GeForce Now rigs.
Still better theirs than yours.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. That's why I felt, because Dragon's Dogma 2 is the reason I started using GeForce Now.
Yeah,
because I was like, this game is running like garbage, and also my CPU is on fire. Well, let's see if GeForce Now can run it, and it did much better than my PC, but it still had some problems.
Do you guys think they will in the future have like an optimization update?
Oh yeah.
Or is that something? Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm sure they will. I just don't know if it's gonna be very effective.
I mean, they will. I mean, they'll do as much optimization as they can. But
Yeah,
I don't expect anything to change because Dragon's Dogma 2 still runs like garbage.
exactly. If it truly is an issue with the engine, just is not compatible with the type of game they're making, then what can you expect? It's just not going to work. Like they have to redo the entire engine.
I can't like get like, where were they at when they decided to build on this obviously incorrect engine?
It's probably something that Capcom is like having them do, I imagine, because they have so many people that like already know how to use it. They have different assets and stuff that they can use.
I'd assume it's their engine as well, yeah?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, okay. That makes more sense.
I just
Oh,
still
well.
like, I feel like there should be some type of workaround around it. I mean, obviously, I guess there is, because this clearly does not have the same as severe problem as Dragon's Dogma 2 had, or in DD2, like they can't get a town to function, let alone whatever Wilds is doing. So clearly they improved a lot, but the issues are still there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the big thing that stops this from being as terrible as Dragon's Dogma 2 in its worst cases is just the fact that there's no hub/big city.
Yeah, what did you guys think about all the maps in this one?
I hate it. They're by far my least favorite. I wouldn't say I hated them. I just don't care.
I don't mind.
They're the most
I thought they were
forgettable
cool.
maps. I definitely admit I feel less invested in like our home bases because it's not like the hubs. I enjoyed like one single big hub way more than these spread out base camps in small villages because they're very forgettable. I feel the maps, the combinations of how big the map is, plus your bird basically autopiloting you through most of it, most times. And just, they don't seem very memorable.
Okay.
I wasn't a big fan of the designs of them either. Like for me, as an example, going from ice shards to the ruins, I didn't even know it was a different area right away. Because it just felt more of the same.
Okay. What did you think, Tsun?
I don't know. I enjoyed them. I thought they were cool areas. There's not much I can say. I enjoyed going to the different areas and fighting things there, and I still think they're cool areas.
All right, Mr. Fliz.
I miss World's place. Like I remember really enjoying just that first Hunter place. There was like one extra one that I didn't give too much of a shit about, but the Iceborne like main hub and then the main hub in World, like I really liked those areas. Like they had, I don't know, there was just, it felt so much more lived in. And I get it. Like this is not that was like, I think you guys told me that was like the Monster Hunter, that was their home base, and this is the
It's an
expedition crew, right?
Yeah.
So everything's
narratively,
gonna be yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense that it is the way it is.
It does.
I just don't know if
I
it
think
was worth it to have it established in the narrative.
I don't think it was, because the towns are very like brown and dirt everywhere and rocks. There's one place that looks kind of nice, but you don't do anything there. On top of that, towards the end, you have the little annoying kid, and he's basically your hub for all the farming and like buying things from people. And that whole thing, like part of me is like, this is what I've always wanted, right? Like I just want everything in one spot. But now I'm realizing I don't. It like pulls me out of it every time that I'm like, man, I used to have like a farm with like endemic researchers to go talk to, and they'd have like this little flare and stuff. And I guess it's one of those, you don't know what you have till it's gone. Because I just talked to this kid and he goes, "You want some fucking farm plants? Here, take this shit. Get away from me." I'm like, that's okay. I guess we're doing it this way, and it just feels kind of hollow.
I remember people saying that about the original hub town, the base one in World, that it was way too big. And I didn't like, I actually loved it. I thought it looked amazing. I loved actually like walking to the different areas and stuff, and like the huge forge with the thing in the background, just like doing all the stuff.
I missed that huge forge. The forge was dope. And this
Yep.
lady like makes a hat out of a big chunk of metal. I don't know what's going on here. Like
And now
seems
everything
weird.
is centralized, a small area in every single place, and it feels like dog shit.
I mean,
Yeah.
the other thing though is that like there's just most of the stuff is centralized, but then there's stuff that isn't, which is a pain in the ass because it's like, okay, where the fuck is the melting pot? Where the fuck is my ore smelting? Like, there's just certain things that are found in only in specific villages. That if you are like, oh, I have to go use this, let me go through like multiple loading screens and a trek over there.
I couldn't really tell you which town is which. You know, they're all kind of the same to me. I know the one that has a big forge in the ground that seems really that is not a clean, precise process to just dump all your metal into the ground and then hammer it out. I don't know who came up with that. It doesn't seem you could do better.
These guys didn't know
yeah.
what weapons were. Like, cut them some slack, I guess.
Okay. All right. I can cut him some slack.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of what I've seen so far.
You know, because
For me, I really enjoy the plains, the Scarlet Forest, and just those two actually. The other
Yeah,
three
everything
areas,
with green in it.
yeah, the other areas I think are really bad. The oil place, I thought it looked cool when it was introduced, and then you're there and everything's just gray and just kind of gross looking. Everything looks the same. I've gotten lost there a few times just because like I have no idea where I am. The ice place, same problem. Just kind of everything looks the same. It's very like elevation based too, so it just makes it like a hassle to even navigate. And
Now, are you talking about just the town or just
no, the
or
whole map, the whole
the whole
map.
biome? Okay.
Yep, the entire map. I had the same issue that that Strider does with the Wyvern ruins too. It looks exactly like the ice cliffs where
Yeah.
sometimes I forget where I am. I don't even realize that I'm there. But the first two areas, they feel so much more fleshed out. And I think it's because they take more advantage of the biome changes. Like you especially notice it in the desert, like when the storm clears and the sky suddenly is just all cloudy. It's like it's crazy looking. And the Scarlet Forest is the same way, where you can, if you visit different times of days or different seasons, there's different fish that are out. The water will change. Some of the environment changes too. There's different monsters and endemic life that's out, and different stuff that you can actually find too, or only appear during certain seasons or times of day. Like there's these giant octopus that hang out in the very top of the map in the Scarlet Forest that glow.
I've never even seen those.
Yeah. I think those first two areas, they look really good. And I think if they just like straight up pitched the other ones and just made a third one that was just as good as those, I think it would have been like way better, because those other three areas feel like I wish they weren't even the game. I really don't like them.
Well, and then you have the circuit, whatever it is,
Secret,
yeah, the bird.
I think.
secret, yeah. And then, but you're just kind of rushing through everything nonstop, even if you don't really want to. Like, I just find myself, just press up, and I don't even care about what's next to me. And for some reason, I remember doing that a lot in Worlds too, because if you did enough extra stuff, you'd get the little lizards you could ride to the monster. You kind of had the same thing going on.
Yeah.
But it was slower, and you kind of had more time to look around.
Well, you had to do the extra stuff, right? So by the
yeah.
time you got it, you had already
That's
explored
true.
the area and saw like a lot of it.
That's true. This is kind of that Final Fantasy 14 problem where like there's no reason to really go exploring right now. I'm sure there's little things here and there.
Yeah.
I just haven't found a reason to leave the chosen path so far.
I think one of my big issues with the map design is compared to Rises and compared to Worlds, is each like room doesn't feel distinct enough.
What do you mean by room?
Like
I don't mind that.
the area numbers, because
Gotcha.
because like there's like less defining landmarks. Like there's less like interesting like room layouts. Because I want to use oh god, what is the even called? The Ever's Recess? Is that the full name?
Elder's Recess.
Elder's Recess, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Elder's Recess has a bunch of interesting rooms comparatively.
Yeah,
Like, 'cause
you
you
got the big
you've got the
cliff
big
to jump off. You got the crystals that fall. You got all kinds of different
You've
cool
got-
stuff that I remember.
Yep, you've got like you've got that crystal room with the in the middle with the dropping pillars. You've got Teoster's arena with the lava and the little pathway to it. It creates a little circle with lava on the outside. You've got Nergigante's like really spiky room where you
The
go
Thunderdome.
the Thunderdome. You've got the ramp area. You've got the room that's like a giant open area with like one raised little section over there.
I mean, there's some areas I remember from this game. Actually, no, I just remember the like room with the eggs. That's the most memorable room I
which
can think
room?
of. The one where you're walking down a ramp and then there's eggs.
Like
Never
that's
mind,
my
I
problem.
guess.
It's like I can't define any of the areas like by their unity.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's the one in the with the cocoons that they hatch out of.
Oh,
The Guardians.
okay, the Guardians room. Yeah, that's probably one of the most unique rooms.
Yeah, I don't really mind it. Because one thing about it is the issue with the huge like unique rooms in the other games is it definitely made it so you can kind of do whatever weapons and like build it you wanted, because all the rooms were like huge. They're all enormous in world. This game, there have been a few times where I'm just like huddled right up next to a monster. And I'm like, holy shit, I wish I had like a lance or something, because I am just getting thrown around. I have to like block all this shit because I can't move because the corridor I'm fighting them in is like super small. And there's 4 of us. And it feels like it's intended to make it so you want to try different weapons, because you can't just use all the weapons all the time very effectively. You know what I mean?
I mean, you get the ability to switch them. That's why you can carry a second one now.
Exactly.
I would assume.
Yeah. Yep. There's even like there's an area in the Scarlet Forest that has like a bunch of those poison plants around. And I ran into an issue with a melee weapon, the Greatsword, where I can't go hit the monster or I'll just fucking poison myself. So I pull out my bow and I use that instead and ride around on my sacred. I think the map design is more of an upgrade. It makes it more inconvenient to fight, but I feel like that's intentional. It also makes the world feel a lot more like fluid and natural in comparison, because it doesn't feel like you're just entering the next like room or area. Like I never felt that with this, almost at any point.
It just feels interconnected and blends into itself.
Yeah, like with a few
Which-
exceptions that are meant to be, like the very top of the Scarlet Forest, for example, or just the huge desert. In the plains.
I can see the positives of both.
I never really felt that. Like I never felt like dual blades weren't effective. The only time I had issues was when the room's too small and the camera gets pressed up, so you can't see him. You cannot see anything, and that wouldn't matter what weapon I had because I just can't fucking see.
I was going to ask if you guys have had problems with that.
The camera gets terrible in the corridors between rooms, because that's another thing is I feel the rooms are more like designed with these really long thin corridors, and if a monster ends up getting in there and you have to fight it there, it's fucking awful.
Well, right, because you're in there with it, right?
I mean, even if it's like just the monsters there and I'm trying to find the outside, just whatever, it's a terrible experience to fight them. Like they're not designed. The monsters are not designed to be fought in these small, thin corridors.
Did you
that
just
connect
lure it
the
out?
room. Well, it's either I sit there and wait and just hope it comes out, or it just retreats in 2 minutes anyway.
I remember it was the same thing in World though, because like I'm specifically thinking of the Elder's Recess with Teostra and stuff when you get stuck in the little hallway going up to the separate area, and sometimes you'd get stuck in the hallway and you'd have to be like, all right, I got to get out of here. Like this is not working.
Yeah. Yep. It's the same thing. Like you just can't fight it there. Like you're just gonna have a bad time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like there is a camera solution to I am between the monster and a wall. And like, I don't feel like there's a solution other than stop being there.
Yeah. Okay. So it isn't just me, but also because I've noticed quite a few times where I'm like, I can't see my character and I hope I'm alive. I can't tell if I'm down or if I'm like, all right, we'll just see what happens. I'll hold R2 and we'll move on with our life.
Because I'm not talking just about the camera. I'm talking about when, like, even if you could see the monster and it gets into a small corridor, like where there's a very thin amount of movement, it just becomes an awful fight. And I felt like this happened way more in Wilds than it did in either Rise or World. Because I've definitely had it happen in World and Rise, but it happened a lot in Wilds, especially when I was playing solo.
Oh, maybe that's why. I don't think I ever had that issue.
Yeah, it happened when I was playing solo as well. Not in the corridor, but just the camera, like fucking, I don't know. Fights got weird sometimes. Y'all want to talk about the story at all, or
we could talk about the story?
Well, let's like talk about the progression because just in general, because one of the issues that World had when it came out was in order to progress, you had to do this weird thing where you go into the game, you have to watch the cutscene. And until everyone watched the cutscene, that's when like a bunch of people could back out and then join the quest for the other person, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is basically the same thing. They did not fix that really.
If anything, they made it worse.
If anything, it's worse because now there's more moments like that. It's constant. It just never stops. But they added the link party system that makes it so that when someone is at that point, it automatically sends invites to everyone that's in the party, and then they can just join straight from there. So they don't have to do you get out and then you can you just immediately do it and then you're good. There's a couple bugs with it, whereas if you get hit while you're trying to do it, you get a connection lost error and it just doesn't work, but it's whatever. You could just use a ghillie mantle or whatever.
Also with the progression, there's also just certain points where you can't do anything other than the main story. Like you are forced into the next section.
Yeah. And what were you going to say, Fliz?
Oh, I just thought it was funny that like rather than fix the old issue, they just added a new mechanic and like we're like just do that instead. It's the same. It's fine. Like here's a link system thing. Just don't worry about it and do something else. It works most of the time.
just do the best part is it's exclusively, from what I understand, a World and Wilds issue. Every other Monster Hunter game with multiplayer is fine.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Like they made it worse. I don't know how. It was fine in Rise after World, but now it's back to being even worse. Also, the amount of different things you have to join. Okay, because like I fired up the game and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to play with my friends. Do I have to invite them to the link party? Do I have to invite them to the environmental list? Do I have to send them a friend request? Do I have to send them a squad invite? Like, it took like 25 minutes of just like, okay, do we do this? Did you get that? Hey, is it working now? How about now? Did that work?
One of the people in the Discord sent me a friend request and I just let it sit there for like 3 days because I didn't know how to add a friend. Or no, he sent me his code and I was like, I just ignored it because I couldn't figure out how to get a friend. He finally sent me an invite and I was like, I don't even know where my friends list is.
They do a terrible job explaining the social system. It's not great. Once you got it figured out, it's actually really smooth. Like once we were like had it down, we just had people coming in and out, joining quests and stuff, and just playing the game. It was really nice to have it like be much easier than in World. We had to didn't have to do the lobby code anymore because you just do the squad lobby. That's just permanently in there.
Yeah, I like that. That's great. I don't mind that at all. I mean, we just had a lobby open for like 24 hours or something. Like it's fine.
Yep. But for the story in this game, there's a few things I like. They actually voice acted your character this time.
That was nice.
It's also
they're fully voiced, which is super nice. I actually really like it a lot. What are you saying, Jacob?
He's also just because I had a male character, but they're just the best character in the game for me.
I agree. The hunter is easily the best character. He's, you know, and the only thing that might trump that is interactions between the hunter and the handler. Just because there's a couple moments that happen where I'm like, that's cool, let's do that.
Yeah, I do enjoy the sense of camaraderie that you have between your handler and your player character.
Oh yeah.
Like it's
Towards the end, I liked it a lot more.
You're also the protagonist dropping like the hardest line in the entire series towards the end of low rank.
I don't remember.
Because it's the one where, because throughout the game you're always getting authorization to hunt from your handler, and at the last fight of low rank he gives himself the authorization by my own order.
Oh, I must have missed it.
It's the cutscene for Zoashia.
Yeah, people really like Alma. I spent a lot of time kind of just like the vibes were low. You know, like I kind of miss the old handler who was always excited. I mean, yeah, according to the story, she fucked everything up multiple times, but as a character, like between her and the Palicos and making food, and you know, it always just was like so extra. And then you come into this game and they really toned everything way down, which I don't know if I'm a fan of that, but some people are. You know, that's a personal opinion entirely.
Yeah, I'm not. I really like the characters in it so far, up to a certain degree. Kind of with the caveat that because this is a Monster Hunter game, there's only so much personalization they can kind of do and get away with. And
in what way?
More that at the end of the day, really, your end goal is to go fight monsters.
Yeah.
And, you know, the monsters don't talk back at all. So you're just kind of going around just talking to people. Then the actual conflict is fighting the monsters. That's about it.
There's very little.
We talked about that a bit.
Yeah, there's very little friction between like your characters and other characters.
Yeah,
it would feel nice to have a real antagonist. You know,
yeah, I thought they would change that too, because the village that you first go to, they're kind of like they don't really want anything to do with you when you first meet them. Like besides the one guy you save, they're like, okay, yeah, you guys give us our birds back and you can leave. And then that immediately flips the switch once you help them out with the dogs.
That was funny. They're like, yeah, give us our birds back. Okay, here's some birds. All right.
And then they're all for it. And that never happens ever again. Like for anyone else that you meet, like it just never happens. So they kind of just shut that down as being a potential like interesting plot point. It's funny too, because I thought they would go for like a more kind of down to earth story for this game, because World was like, you know, you got all this crazy shit happening. There's a moving mountain walking around trying to reach the center of the island or the new world, and might reach the center and blow everything up and everything's going to go horrible. And this one, you're just trying to find this kid's home. Like that's the objective.
Yeah, and the kid's kind of annoying too. So like I don't even really want to find his home. Like I'll drop you off at the fire station and be just as happy.
Right. And then it goes from that into like genetic cloning and like artificial weather machines. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? What is this?
Dude, I can't believe we fucking got the equal dragon weapon after all this time.
Oh my God.
They fucking brought back the concept art from like the very first game.
Yeah.
What is that?
Because so the equal dragon weapon was a thing from Monster Hunter 1. To summarize, basically, in the fight against the Elder Dragons, an ancient civilization basically just started ripping parts out of Elder Dragons that they managed to slay or find, and ended up just building a mechanical like abomination out of multiple Elder Dragons, which is basically what the low rank final boss is. Zoashia is because Zoashia is just basically an amalgamation of the two main Elder Dragons I see are Fatalis and Geismagorm, the final boss of Sunbreak. It has a multiple moves from each. So it's just this genetic abomination.
Oh, see, I didn't know that because I missed like a cutscene. I missed one cutscene. I accidentally pressed start for, or I skipped for whatever reason. I didn't mean to, and suddenly like this was the new bad guy. Like this was the new, and I'm like, what are we doing here? I don't even know what happened to the electric dragon with tentacles. Now we're fighting this guy. What is this?
That's the thing about Monster Hunter is that the actual final boss always shows up out of nowhere.
Oh, okay. He's pulling a who's the guy from Metal Gear?
Armstrong.
Armstrong has appeared.
Nano machine.
Like Xeno'jiiva had very little build up from what I remember. Like it's just suddenly, oh, it's hatching, kill it.
Yeah.
And then Shara Ishvalda showed up in Iceborne, and it's like, oh, it's doing. I don't even remember what the fuck Shara Ishvalda was even doing. It's song or something.
I think it's
Who knows? Even that
And it
last
was like,
Black
oh, it's
Dragon.
fucking everything up, kill it.
Yeah.
Rises is basically Rise probably has the longest build up for its antagonist, but it also wasn't finished when it first released because they actually added the final fight in a title update. But
I mean, what it's really showing me is that like I don't hate the story of this game. Like there was a point where I was really intrigued as to like what's going on with these guardians. What's the deal here? I don't really know. And then it kind of fizzled out. But like that's not why I'm here, honestly. You know, so the story could be. I honestly wish the story was way worse so I could laugh at it. It's not terrible. It's not the worst thing in the world by far.
Yeah. I
and
think
like I said, that's not why I'm here.
What?
Overworlds.
Yeah, I think the story narratively is an improvement over Worlds. I think the issue more becomes it sort of gets in the way of the actual game, where the issue I had with it is because you're following the story, you completely miss the part of the game where you're actually exploring and hunting and actually, doing stuff. Like the pace that you go through the areas is absurd in this game. It's so fast. It
follows you hard.
Yeah.
the other thing for the story is that, like, for low rank, it felt like a very similar story to Worlds. And then its high rank story felt very similar to Sunbreaks, with like very similar plot beats.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what.
I couldn't believe how short it was. Like the credits roll. I killed a thing and then the credits rolled, and I sat here for 10 minutes watching the credits in shock. Like I was like, Kylar, what the fuck happened? It's over. Like I'm done.
You did it.
I thought I was maybe a quarter of the way through it. Not now. It's just high rank where it's kind of a story, but you just go fight stuff. And I'm like, that's what I wanted in the first place. I just thought the story would be a little more than like 8 to 10 hours or something.
Yeah, no, I think they needed to put a little bit more, put some stuff between some of the story. I don't know. It's difficult because I feel like they were trying to listen to the community at the same time by just like getting it over with. But I feel like it was the wrong direction. You know what I mean?
Like, what would you have preferred? Well, because like, okay, so the first half of it felt like I was just doing side quests, right? Like it was just kind of meandering.
Yeah.
And then suddenly we get into the real story and then it ends. And I was like, this is interesting. I don't know. I don't know how I felt about that.
Like chapter 3 is like by far the most interesting for me in the story.
Yeah.
Everything from starting where you go exploring the basically everything after the flame octopus and then up to low ranks and then fucking high ranks ending just made me sad. I was very disappointed with how high rank ends.
Yeah. Even that quest, the random monkey being in there. Because it made it so we killed the big monster first, and then we're like, oh, why isn't it ending? Oh, we gotta go kill the monkey.
You know what it should have done is like have the quest start right where it has both objectives, and then during the cutscene it just kills the other one. Because I will say though that Gormagala's entrance is probably my favorite cutscene for a monster.
Is it?
He just shows up and bodies whatever else was there.
Nah, Nergigante for me still has
No,
it.
I'm talking about wilds.
I'm
talking about
for
Well,
wilds.
that's not a high bar.
I know.
All the introductions are so bad in wilds. I don't like any of them, to be honest. I can't think of one that I really enjoyed.
It's the only one I enjoyed. That's why I'm bringing it up. Because he actually got to show off. Shoutouts to Ray Dow, by the way, just getting bodied in its own introduction.
I liked the Jin Dahad where he's climbing on the walls and stuff. Like that was the one that I liked.
Oh yeah, that one is cool. Actually, that's probably my favorite.
Easily my favorite design out of all the monsters that were in this one that I've seen so far.
Yeah, he's my favorite. He's my favorite monster to fight and design wise. Everyone know?
Yeah, I love Jin. I hope they do more with him, to be honest. I want more of that monster. He's really cool. Honestly, all the other monsters, though, I don't really like them.
They're
Like
very forgettable.
Almost none of them feel memorable. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Even compared to World, like nothing about them feels unique at all.
So another thing why I felt that way is I hate the way they're spread out. Because low rank is all new monsters except for 2. And then high rank is basically all returners. And then a reskin, basically.
I mean, that makes sense because, by the time you get to the high rank, the people who gunned it straight for high rank, those are the ones who are going to be hyped for these returning monsters. I mean, I heard I was still in low rank and I heard people in the Discord, look, it's this guy. Oh my God, it's that guy. Don't say anything. Don't spoil it. And I'm like, I don't even fucking care, but I appreciate it.
I mean, also the returners are all very few of them were noteworthy.
Yeah, it's like the basic ones.
Yeah. I after seeing most of the cast, because like I said, I'm still not quite done with everything.
Where are you actually?
I fought a monkey and a Jin Dahad in optional stuff. I think I'm doing the you need to increase your I'm like HR 30 something. I don't know.
You fought Jin Dahad and slayed it, right?
Maybe,
in
I don't know.
Basically you fought Jin Dahad in high rank.
I think so.
Everything
goes fast because everybody jumps in and then the monster's dead and I'm like, whatever, on to the next one.
Have you gotten to where it has asked you to go to each of the base camps again?
I think that's where I'm at right now.
Okay.
I have to go to each one has its own red mission. I think I just killed a monkey. Speaking of the monkey, I hate the farting monkey. I don't know why. It's just like you had out of the cast that we see, and one's a giant spider and one's a farting monkey, and compared to Furious Rajang and I guess these are DLC, right?
Yeah, DLC.
Man, okay.
Well, even Tobi Kadachi.
Yeah, that guy was cool. I like it. He was an easy fight, but he was fun.
There was him. There was I forgot to pronounce his name. The flashy guy, the guy who flashes you.
Titsyaku.
The little velociraptor dude.
Titsyaku or something like that.
Yep. Haolumu too, the one that floats around a bunch. I remember it was so satisfying popping him whenever he was flying around and having him come crash in the ground.
Yeah.
Great Gyros too.
Lugia. What was it called?
The frost bird guy. Yeah.
Frostbird.
Baranoth. Banjanath.
Barioth was Master Egg.
I liked Barioth though.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to compare it to exclusively with it because I have a feeling that Master Egg's going to introduce a lot of fan favorites.
It's got to. I mean, they can just throw it all in there, and your computer's going to fry no matter what. So just put it all in there. Who cares?
Oh no, because
Nergigante comes back.
It just gets beat up again.
No.
Oh man, I'm still disappointed how much of a pushover Ruiner was.
Yeah, I mean, by that time we're all decked out and everything, and we're super good. And
I don't think he really changed. Did he have anything new?
That's part of the.
That was my complaint about it. Usually the variants have something new about them.
His was just his spikes grew faster, and that he had He had a few new moves where he launched them specifically in a single direction.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's like the big thing I remember.
Okay. Dang.
But no, I felt this game needed more brute wyverns and more traditional flying wyverns. Because my problem with it is that its roster is very unique, but there's no contrast in it. Like there's no more standard like fan favorites or simple monsters. Was like one of my problems, especially for low rank.
Really? You don't think there's simple monsters in it?
Like, because like I wanted more of like a standard like what I would think of like first design when I think of Monster Hunter is like Rathalos, Diablos, Egrix, Barioth, like those type of like a design.
Yeah, the actual wyverns.
Like,
there's only Rathalos and Rathian. Like that's it.
You don't want to fight a farting monkey and a giant prairie dog?
I wanted some contrast to those, is what I wanted.
Well, maybe they would have been more contrasting if the game, if everything wasn't such a pushover. You know what I'm saying? Like the green frog thing at the beginning, you just kill, like it might as well be endemic life. Like you just fucking slaughter it.
I mean,
every time you have to fight it.
It's also the only it's also the only amphibian. So the amphibians just show up, get punted, and just never show up again. Like,
but I like Jagras. I like Great Jagras. I don't give a fuck about this frog guy.
I don't know.
It also feels weird. It also feels weird with the Monster Hunter game not having a great something as its first fight.
Yeah, it's true.
Great frog.
Great frog.
I enjoy the game. I'm still playing it. I really wish I just had more time to actually like learn through the game. The story just pushes you through it so fast.
Nothing has time to breathe.
Like.
There was quite a few times where a tooltip would pop up for something that I should have been taught in a tutorial to some degree. Like I know, man, I feel like dumb saying this, but like sometimes I'm like, all right, I wanted to know how certain things work, like making a monster smash into the wall. And I just had to Google it because it wasn't really good at telling me like what that was.
I still don't know how you smash something into the wall.
You just stand
just hit it in the head. Yeah.
That's what I
mean.
That's it. Yeah, mounting doesn't feel as good as it did before to me. I remembered mounting being a little, especially once you got the clutch cost situation going on, and that felt a little more in control. This kind of just feels a little arcadey comparatively.
Oh no,
yeah, I could see that.
I
enjoy the combat, but it's different feel than World for sure.
Does this game have mount themes?
I have no idea.
I didn't notice, because that was always one of my favorite parts about mounting monsters in World is just the theme change that happens.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I don't remember it in Wilds.
Yeah, maybe that
I didn't remember. I didn't notice in World, to be honest.
Yeah, same. Same, and I love mounting. That was like my favorite thing to do.
You know, because the one that I always remember is Inogi's theme is when you mount him, the guitar kind of fades out and the drums take center.
Oh.
And it's one of my favorite songs in the entire series, is specifically his mount theme, because the drums go nuts.
All right. Is there any other things we need to touch on?
I guess the last thing, what do you guys feel like to break down the focus system? Because that seems to be like there's a lot of people that have different opinions on it.
It's fine. I mean, I was thinking like I missed the clutch claw. I don't really miss tenderizing things, but it's really not that different. It's kind of the same system reskinned.
It is.
I like it a lot more than tenderizing. Like of the 3 games that I've played, Rise, World, and Wilds, it's by far my favorite, basically, gimmick.
It's, as I've only used the great sword, I will only ever use the great sword. It's, I don't even know if it's game changing, but it's definitely something to be able to hit your true charge slash.
Oh no, it's absolutely game changing to be able to aim TCS and to be able to aim Demon Dance. Also, I think you move forward like much more in focus mode. At least it feels that way.
What were you saying soon?
Oh, I was just saying, being able to aim most of the stuff is nicer.
Yeah.
Like having more control feels nice.
Yeah. I wonder if that makes something with the greatsword, because there was something special about like doing the combo correctly and in the right direction when restricted by all kinds of aim and like monster positioning, and actually landing it where it felt really nice, where now you just land it every time. So maybe that's a little bit different.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why it feels so strong, is that like more high commitment stuff is definitely less committal now, and it's easier to land and keep that uptime.
Yeah.
Like Demon Dance, for example, with dual blades, is like you need to know that the monster is going to be like in range for the next 3 to 4 seconds. So it always felt nice, especially if the monster wasn't down to hit that entire thing. Now I just hit it and just wail, and I just do Demon Dance or Blade Dance into Demon Flurry over and over, just every time, as long as I have gauge. Because that's all dual blade does. At least it seems to be very effective. And my best way to do it is just do a few normal combo attacks and then just mash Blade Dance, Demon Flurry over and over and over. And that's how every fight goes. And you just shit out damage.
Maybe they'll take that into account for the harder difficulties, and you'll like absolutely need to be doing stuff 100% of the time, or else it's going to be, a damage check or something and you'll fail.
Well, I feel like what they're going to do is they're just going to make it so wounds are harder to do. So you actually need to aim, like not just hit the monster, but you need to actually aim for certain spots on the monster, because that's how the tempered wounds work right now, where you have to aim at the tempered scars in order to proc tempered wounds, but you have to hit them. And I feel like they're just going to drive that mechanic to more difficulty. So if you're not actually aiming at those areas, the game is going to be way harder for you now.
Yeah.
Because
I can see that.
The regular wounds aren't going to be as effective. I like it. I definitely enjoy it. It certainly helps, because one of the issues with the greatsword is sometimes, like if a monster's on the floor, you'll be aiming a true charge slash and its tail will like go over you and through you. And there's nothing you can do about it. You just completely get moved around by the motion of the tail, and now you just miss guaranteed. And this kind of fixes like that, because that felt more like a bug than like, well, how was that my fault? Like, what did I do?
It's not like your character walked or anything. You would just like stationarily just shift directions and be in a different place.
Yeah, that always felt like ass.
Yeah.
And this kind of fixes it. And it's still like a range limitation too. And the commitment's still there. You can't stop yourself once you start. Like you can move a little bit, but that's about it. You're still going to get slapped if you do it when you're not supposed to. The only thing I am hesitant about is it does create like a resource disparity among the players for the wounds themselves, because
I've noticed.
Yeah, because there's like a skill in the game for the Arkveld where whenever you proc a wound on it, you gain health back, right? So, and you do increase damage as well. There's a skill that does that. So there becomes the argument of like, I should be the one hitting wounds because I heal off and I do more damage than you guys if you do it. And that's just its own problem. So that kind of sucks. Where tenderizing, if you were doing that, that helps everyone. Like everyone benefits from that.
Agreed. I will say the times I've died a couple times, and nearly every time, I'd say that I've only died once naturally. Every time I've died, it's been like trying to counter hit a move, and I'm not sure if I can counter hit it or not. I just have to take the hit and try it, because I do kind of like that, the animation thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it turned into more options rather than just you get to do the one thing. But I like it being there.
I haven't figured out like what you can do afterwards yet. I haven't done enough.
You can just clutch claw to it and hit it again. That's it.
Okay. Because I've had a couple options show up where like I can do either true charge slash or like it's like
Or a circle.
flying wide slash. Yeah.
Yeah, you just want to do true. I don't know why you'd ever do the weaker one. It's like
Because
weird.
some of the monsters, they recover really fast, or they're not even staggered. So if you go for a true charge slash, you're just going to eat shit.
Yeah, I guess.
The only thing is I wish there was something to show the cooldown on it, because there is a cooldown. So if you try it, it just won't do anything.
Yeah, I wish
Is
it
it
was
a cooldown?
I think so.
Or is
Like,
it a status? Because I know power clashes are a status.
is it a status?
That's why
Maybe
it might be a
is, and I haven't
status.
noticed.
Because I know power clashes are. People were saying that power clashes are basically a status. Which the interesting thing about power clashes is if two people hit the threshold at the same time, they will both power clash.
I love power
Ooh.
clashes. I think they're super cool.
Yeah, but dual blades, you don't get power clashes or offsets.
That's the same thing with both me and Lionel were like, how the fuck do you power clash? Like, oh, you need to block.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we don't do that.
Well, no wonder.
I get them on gun lance because I try and perfect block all the time. It happens a lot.
Yeah, it makes me feel like Gun Lance and Lance will be really strong in this game throughout. I mean, I guess they've always been strong, but
As soon as I learned that, I put the guard up skill that lets you guard like normal and guardable attacks and makes guarding like better for you. Because I try to just do that all the time now. Like I just try to be in there and blocking attacks, trying to get the clash.
Yep, same here. I'm trying to block.
Apparently apparently gun lance also its scaling's different in Wilds, because it used to be that the shells, like the bullets would just have like their own fixed damage, but now they actually scale off attack. So like it's not like a strong early game fall off late game type thing. They scale in the late game now, which is nice.
Okay.
I will say though, dual blades this is the most you ever have had to press buttons. Like if you're playing dual blades correctly, you are never not attacking. Like even your evades are attacks, and they empower you. So like for Wilds, it's literally just Pitbull go and just maul.
It's the same for Greatsword. Lionel came. We fought something last night, and I was watching. I was like looking at the clock, and I watched a minute tick by, then 2 minutes of us just constantly attacking and not stopping.
Just true charge slash. Oh, there's a wound. Drag the sword through him. No true charge. Oh, there's no one. Drag the sword through him.
Got knocked down. Mount. Like it was nonstop. And this was on like a high rank something. This was probably one of the stronger ones I'd fought. Maybe a smaller monster, but still, the uptime for all the weapons is pretty big. It seems like.
I think a lot of that just like they would be fixed by just making it so that on like high rank or tempered monster, even just popping wounds doesn't flinch them.
Yeah, I noticed it more on the harder monsters that is not nearly as effective. Sometimes they just straight up don't care.
Yeah, because with all the flinching there's like a compounding issue because of your uptime's increased. You hit thresholds more often, and you hit more statuses for more openings. So it's exponentially more damage.
Yeah,
I'm sure it'll be patched in some way.
I mean, it's easy fixes. It's just numbers for the most part for that. And just the idea that you can just change the wound system a little bit more to kind of, again, require more skill expression. Like you need to be hitting these parts of the monster.
Yeah.
And you can't just be in there and just hitting stuff randomly because you're just not going to do well.
And I'm curious to see where they go with it, because you can't just have this exist in its current format and add difficulty to the game. It doesn't work that way.
Or you're going to add some bullshit difficulty to compensate for it if you don't.
Hey, I'm ready for it.
Like,
I'm ready.
There is a few other things I wanted to bring up. But one of them, I have to talk about something from the very end of the game. Do you mind me talking about it, Fliz?
Oh, no, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm never going to catch up. So go
apparently, one thing is so you know how the beta came back, right? And they added another fight. They added Arkfeld. The thing is, apparently they added a gimped version of the final fight in the game of Flying Wyvern, Arkfeld. which was very interesting for them to throw in their final fight of the game into their beta, which was a very strange thing.
I mean, they want people to test it.
It was like it was specifically the Flying Wyvern version, but it didn't have any of the Flying Wyvern exclusive abilities.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Interesting.
But no, my other real big complaint about this game was the armor.
What was your complaint
What's
about
wrong
the
with
armor?
That the low and high rank versions and the alpha and beta sets are all the same.
What does that mean?
So you know how there's like a alpha set and a beta set where one has more ingrained skill, but less decoration
And
slots.
the betas for decorations and like later on, yeah.
Yeah, in World, there was actually a visual distinction between the sets. Like they actually looked different.
Gotcha.
In this, they are either exactly the same or slight recolor. Most of the time, they're exactly the same.
I don't really care about that.
It's a weird decision considering that I believe now when like any high rank armor you craft can also be layered armor.
Oh. Huh.
So
Did the other one have male and female versions of armor?
No, because that was so.
That's their switch.
Yeah. So, and low rank and high rank in previous games were different, right? I'm not misremembering this. They had different, like slightly different designs.
yeah, they were a little bit different.
Okay, because they're the exact same in Wilds. Because when they were saying, in pre-release material that because of the being able to use male and female armors, they're like, you're gonna have the most options ever. And it turns out that we have technically less options than before, which made me incredibly sad because finding out that like when I got to high rank, I'm like, oh, cool. What new sick designs am I going to see? And it's the exact same.
I can see where that is a little frustrating.
Yeah, I think the design for the weapons are just overall an improvement, though. I definitely like the weapon designs way more.
No. Because my problem is that there's for certain weapon types, there's like 3 to 4 monsters you can go without getting a new weapon.
Yeah.
And there's also like some really bad gaps. Like I want to use dual blades. There's one thunder weapon option in the entire game. And it's like the fact that Ray Dow, for example, doesn't have dual blades makes me incredibly sad.
I mean, certain weapons just don't have certain monsters.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because it feels very limiting. Though their designs are better than Worlds, where they just slap different parts on.
Although, like you were saying, Lionel, they don't have moving weapons. Like they don't have changing ones.
Yeah, well, they don't have any for the greatsword that actually move when you like use the charge attack. There are a couple that actually do shift though, like when you pull it out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I did find a few that actually do that.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like that's been an issue in previous games too, where just some weapon types did not have weapons from certain monsters. And that's to be expected just because there's so many weapons in the game. Like, I mean, there's got to be one other thing you can use. You know what I mean? And you can hold 2 weapons now.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, just use a different. That's why you got 2 weapons now. So just use a different kind of weapon. Yeah.
I mean, how many different weapon types are there? Like 13?
I mean, it's the same as the other 2 games. And it felt way worse in this game than those.
Well, yeah, because they upgraded the weapon design. So
yes and no, because they did just port over some of Worlds and some of Rises, I believe. But they didn't bring any that shared designs.
There's like a couple that I noticed from World 2, but like all the weapons now are unique. I remember in World there were some that were literally just the same as another one, but they just colored it different. And that I think there's maybe one other greatsword that happens with in this one, but it branches off of that same weapon. I think it's no, it doesn't branch off. There's two that have the same design but different colors. It's the paralytic weapon and the hope blade, are both the same greatsword design, but the color scheme for the paralytic greatsword is really good.
Have you guys found a, like, let's say I want to use a hunting horn, get the buff, and then swap over to my other weapon? Like, have you found combos that do good things, or are y'all just using one weapon at a time still?
I just use one weapon at a time.
I have any
Yeah.
desire to use anything other than dual blades. So they've all I've
Yeah, I
used.
think people are pretty attached to whatever weapon they like to use.
Yeah,
I've noticed.
I switch mid fight just between whatever I feel like.
Yeah, I've been switching to depending on what we fight. And also, I've noticed one thing is having a ranged weapon to hit wounds that are really high up is so useful.
Yeah, it's really helpful.
It is like just like constantly trying to reach for it with the greatsword, like, come on, let me hit it.
Switch the bow and home in on it.
Yeah, I can just grab the bow real quick, and it does so much damage. It's
It's
really nice
free
option.
dragon piercer, man.
Yeah,
Or 1,000 strikes, whatever the hell it's called.
I feel like if you're only using one weapon, you're probably limiting yourself.
No, you're totally
because
limiting yourself.
I feel like they may incorporate stuff to make you want to switch more often. Like to either ranged weapons or something that prioritizes defense over offense.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The options are definitely open to it.
Well, y'all got any final words? I think we're all, Tsun seems to really like it. I think most of the rest of us are kind of anticipating what they release next.
I'm looking forward to what they
Yeah.
release.
Have very high hope.
I'm also enjoying myself with the current product we have as well.
I know.
No, that's totally fine. I just think we're all kind of looking at the potential rather than what's on the plate right now, especially with the performance issues. It's hard to
Yeah.
get past that.
I'm glad it runs as well as it does for me. But I feel so bad because so many people it does not run great for. I'm kind of sad right now because there's not like huge new stuff for me to do. I'm basically just running completionist. Like the only achievements I don't have are the crowns. And I have like my build is done. I hunted all the things. So I'm just kind of doing stuff.
Well, yeah, you took off work to play it. Like, that's all you've been doing. The fuck you talking about?
Yeah,
I know.
I haven't reached
Yeah.
that point
I
yet.
still got plenty of content because I've been busy as fuck.
Same.
PSA, because I totally didn't realize this until Strider said something. If you hit Hunter rank 100, it unlocks more stuff for you to meld at the Melder Elder. I did not know that because it did not tell me jack shit.
That's
and
it.
I was like, really?
That's just the wild thing. It doesn't tell you shit for some things.
And it's so good. It lets you meld the 2-slot decorations directly. Like you just make them. Oh, it's so nice. I can get some of the crit eye ones now. I can just make them so much easier.
Can you make everything, or do you still have to farm and hope for some stuff?
The 3-star ones you have to. I don't know if all the level 2 ones are in there because there's a bunch of them. But there's definitely some I remember having to farm in World. You can just make in there.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, because I did enjoy having like most of a build and then being like, fuck, I need this crit eye gem from this Furious Rajang or whatever attack set. I don't know, some attack jewel or something that I couldn't make. And I know Strider hated that, but I actually enjoyed the hoping for loot.
Oh yeah.
I much prefer just being able to craft what you need. But then also,
Yeah. I can see why.
Player retention. They need the player
did
retention.
any of you get your attack jewel +4, attack jewel 4 in World? Attack boost +2?
I think so.
I think so as well.
Because there's people with like 800 hours that still don't have it. Because his drop rate, drop rate is fucking dog shit.
Yeah.
That's so unfortunate.
Now, this is probably more a question for you, Lionel. what are you guys hoping for returns in either title updates or DLC? Like, what are you hoping to fight?
Oh, I don't like. There's no particular monster that I want to fight again, but I do want some of the like more mechanic based fights. Those I really like the Latran Fatalis ones. Me, the specific mechanic was kind of, could have been better for Latran, but having ones where it's not just swing your sword, like there's stuff you have to do, and like kind of like things you need to check mark, makes the fight so much more engaging than just swing sword. That's what I really want, is like that difficulty of like you need to do XYZ in order to keep going, that and in these steps, and you just move on to the next phase until you finally beat it.
Unironically, I think the Elatrion fight would be way better in Wilds.
Honestly, the only problem with it was those stupid walls were tiny as hell. like that was it.
Like even in Wilds, you could remove the horn breaking where it keeps its element and just make use of both elements.
Yeah,
and just swap between
you
them.
Just switch weapons.
But the fight I'm hoping and I think would be really cool with the design of this game is Dolomadur.
Is he the big serpent one?
Yes, he's this giant serpent.
I've never seen their fight.
From what I remember is he basically coils around the arena. But them being able to show off just how fucking big he is in this new game. Because he would basically wrap around like the planes.
Oh, the game could. My computer couldn't.
It's
My computer will die.
It's a sacrifice willing to be made.
Oh, not for me. Oh my god, that sounds awful.
The PlayStation would just catch on fire. That's the real time limit for that quest, is whether or not your system melts down before you kill it. I think he'd be a really cool siege fight. I mean, I hope we get Primordial Malzeno or even normal Malzeno, because that is my all-time favorite fight in the franchise. And then hopefully, because people have been asking for him for a while, hopefully we get Lagiacrus this generation.
Oh my gosh, they're never going to do it. It'll never happen.
He's supposedly in the files.
And they said that for World too. They said it for World as well. Yeah, I remember.
But there are working Leviathans in this game, unlike in World.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe they'll make a snake Lagiacrus.
And he also has that. He also
snake sand.
I was like, snake. He's already one. He already has a monster ID, which is hopefully good news. Hopefully him and Sergios return.
We'll see. All right. Anything else about Monster Hunter? I think we just about covered it.
I think I've touched on all my main points.
2 hours in, yeah, maybe we covered it.
I
really like the game. I like Monster Hunter. I don't know if I like this more than World yet, but like I said, I see great potential.
Yeah,
just needs to run better. I don't even know if I could recommend somebody. Like if I had to recommend somebody a game, I tell them to just get World first, and then if they really like that, go ahead and get Wilds. Like it's just it's so.
That's part of the thing, right? That's the caveat where you have to take it with a grain of salt. Because I remember most of our time in World was in Iceborne, was not in base World.
That's why I would recommend Iceborne or Sunbreak right now.
Yeah, because the same thing happened with base World, where we finished the game, got all the armor that you could get at the very end from the final boss, and then you just kind of were done.
I ended up having to finish World on my own.
Did you? I mean, I don't remember, because I don't think I played it with you the first time.
Yes, you did.
Played it.
Yes, you did. I joined you because we played on Xbox, right? Because I texted you like 2 or 3 days out of the blue before, and then you said this game was coming out. I was like, oh, cool, I'll hop on with you. And then towards the end of it, like you and Danielle just disappeared, so I ended up having to do the Elder Dragons by myself.
That's because we're too strong. We watch you dragging us down. That's how it happened. I don't even remember, to be honest. That was a long time ago.
I know you don't. I just figured
All
you
right.
were.
Well, I know you have news. Sorry, we're really pushing time here.
Yeah, I'll be pretty quick. This is kind of a quick
Okay.
one. It's kind of crazy. So today, the reviews for the AMD's new graphics cards just dropped. It's for the 9070 and the 9070 XT. And these are going to be competing with the mid-range NVIDIA cards, the RTX 5070 and 5070 Ti. Now, this is to give some context. These are kind of important because reviews for the 5070, the normal one, are basically it's dog shit card.
Yeah.
Actually awful.
Yep.
It is so bad that the 4070 actually beats in some areas. 4070 Super, to be specific. Excuse me. That's terrible, and it's priced as like a $550 card. Not good. The 5070 Ti is considered much better. Like this, it feels like this is what the 5070 should be, and it feels like it's actually what it is supposed to be. But right now, if you try to get it, it's like $750 to $1,000, and you can get it. It's out of stock fucking everywhere. The only way you're going to get it is if you buy pre-built with it in it already, and you're spending over $2,000 at that point.
Fuck.
Not good. But AMD is coming out with these cards, and the prices for these are $550 to $600 respectively, the 9070 and 970 XT. And the numbers came out for these that I'm referencing from Linus Tech Tips video that came out today. And man, are they swinging. This is basically going toe to toe with the 5070 Ti at almost half the price of what it's actually going, what the 5070 Ti is actually going for right now. $600, where it costs like almost $1,000 to get the 5070 Ti, and it basically matches it in 1440p to 4K raster, is insane. That's actually huge. The caveat to this is that ray tracing, they're not doing so good compared to NVIDIA. But other than that, the actual performance of the cards, they're really good.
Good.
Yeah, because from what I understand, their upscaling method is behind NVIDIA's.
Yes. That's what it was for FSR 3.1, 3.2. I can't remember currently right now. But their new one that came out with actually is competitive with NVIDIA's. And that's what's kind of crazy. In some cases, beats DLSS 4, and in example for Horizon Zero Dawn. So now their upscaler is actually competitive with NVIDIA. That's what's kind of insane. And even better news is that AMD has been saying that they've been saturating stores with these cards to make sure that stock does not run out of them. And these launch tomorrow as of the recording of this video.
Ooh.
So we'll see how that the whole stock thing like actually holds up. Maybe I'll leave my words, but either way, just the fact that this is actually a competitive card that AMD is launching, and they can actually kind of potentially get some market share from NVIDIA is going to be kind of bonkers, because the fact that NVIDIA has been releasing these cards that are kind of like dog water, like this is actually just trash what they're doing, is pretty important for the industry, because we're starting to see the trickle down effect in our games now, Wilds especially, where we can't run anything. Nothing's working.
Everything looks worse and runs worse.
Yeah, basically. So we'll see how it goes. I'm pretty excited for it. It seems like a very sizable upgrade for pretty cheap. It reminds me kind of the kind of older prices from a few years ago of what I could get. Because even what some of us are running right now, I think we have some RTX 20s, right?
Yep.
Is what you guys are running?
No,
What do you have?
I have a 2080 Super.
Yes,
Yes.
RTX 2080. Yeah.
Oh, I'm dumb.
I was gonna say that is a toy.
I'm sorry. I'm tired.
Yeah, if you were to like just user benchmark, if you were to compare this to the 5070 Ti, it's literally going to, like, you might as well have like 2 of those cards in your computer.
Oh, wow. Dang. And how much are they going for?
600 for the highest model.
Ooh.
Yeah. The only kind of weird thing that they're doing, which a lot of people have been criticizing, is the lower model, the 9070, is like $50 cheaper than the XT, which is really strange because it performs like quite a bit worse. It pretty much like solves the argument of why would you even bother getting this if you could get this for $50 more? Like, there's no comparison.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah, and they did this with their last generation of cards too, where, you know, people basically just shat on the lower end card and it never sold, and then it got cheaper, but because everyone called it a dog shit card, when it got cheaper, no one bought it still. So yeah, I think it's kind of an oopsie-daisy them doing that again here, but you know, what do I know? I'm sure it'll either way. This seems like it could be actually a pretty big win for AMD. We'll have to see.
I hope so.
I just hope that my number one problem or concern for this is just the amount of times I see people in like a discussion from like with an issue. It's like, this doesn't work correctly in AMD graphics card. Can anyone help me get a fix for this?
Yeah. Yep. That's the other issue, is like going to be any type of compatibility. So we do have to wait and see. That one, you just never know. There's also the issue of just games actually being able to utilize some of the unique AI architecture for this new card, because I do know that apparently not many games actually do support their frame gen and everything. So that's also kind of a problem.
Yeah, because games are usually more more commonly optimized for something like the NVIDIA cards over AMD, from what I understand and what I've seen.
Yeah, but that's why I was putting on there specifically that the raw performance, like a native performance of these cards, matches the 5070 Ti. Before you bring in ray tracing and frame gen into account, they're very similar. Once you do that, that's where AMD, the 5070, kind of takes the lead. But again, you can have issues with frame gen, especially multi-frame gen, with like lots of issues with the ghosting, and it can look pretty bad depending on what you're actually running into. And the 5070 is one of those where it's so low on the card, where if you're not getting that base FPS that you need for frame gen, then that can get really bad if you turn it on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully this comes out and actually gives NVIDIA kind of a punch in the gut, because AMD actually mentions it in their presentation for this card, that 85% of gaming PCs utilize these low range cards. Like, they use cards like the 5070, 5070 Ti, and these 9070s, which are probably going to be the same deal. So yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. I hope it goes well. It feels like it's desperately needed. I might actually get one just to see later down the line.
Yeah, if you do, always kick your old one over.
I need a new graphics card.
That's the sad part.
I already called dibs.
The one I'd replace with it would be the 2070 Super. That's in Azumi's computer. It's worse than yours.
Fine. Yeah. Real quick, speaking of graphics card, I did a little research, and one thing that I didn't think about when trying to figure out why there's never enough graphics cards on release, a big part of that is because it's not just for general consumers. There's like a lot of AI and data farms that require graphics cards. So that's where the bulk of it goes to. And we kind of get the leftovers.
Yeah, no, NVIDIA did not become the most profitable company by appealing to only gamers.
What do you mean? Man, some of these fools on Twitter, you think gamers were superheroes in disguise. We're the least respected minority. Oh my god, these fools.
I can't believe
They're such clowns. Act like playing video games is a skill. No, it's leisure. Shut up. All right. Y'all got any absolutely pressing news? Or are we good? Thank you, Lionel, for that, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, that is it.
All right, then. Well, if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. You can pay us for our free content by leaving a like or a comment, or actually just those two things. Or you can send us an email at giantenemycrappod@gmail.com, and we'll talk about it next time if we get it. So, yeah. Till next time. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Later.